Hi there. Today I'm excited to showcase to you the V-Ray Denoiser, how it works, and how you can integrate it into your workflow to get the best out of your renders. So what is V-Ray Denoiser? It's a tool that removes noise from your image. The noise happens when we don't have enough samples and is especially visible in dark areas or on reflective materials. In this tutorial, I will show you how you can use it for single-frame renders and animation sequences. Let's jump into 3ds Max and set it up. Go to the Render Element tab and click on Add. From the list, choose V-Ray Denoiser. The main option here is the denoising engine. We have three types: default V-Ray Denoiser, NVIDIA AI Denoiser, and Intel OpenImage Denoise. Each has different benefits. I will go through them and explain in which cases each one is used. The NVIDIA AI Denoiser is super fast because it uses artificial intelligence to do the calculations. But keep in mind, you need an NVIDIA GPU for it to work. If you don't have one, the Intel OpenImage Denoiser is a good alternative, as it works with all types of CPUs. Now I want to make some adjustments to my scene. I'm going to choose the NVIDIA AI Denoiser because it's quick and great for look development. I'm going to use it with the interactive rendering mode. Let's head over to the V-Ray tab and start the IPR. My scene is almost done, but I want to make some changes to the materials of the house and the lights. First, I want to change the materials of the wall. Instead of the gray material it has now, I want to swap it out for this pre-made stone texture. I can pick the wall directly from the frame buffer by right-clicking on it and choosing Select Object. Now I can assign the material to the wall. We can see how the denoiser almost instantly cleans up the image and can give us a good idea of how the image will look in the final output. The last thing I want to change in my scene is the lights. Open the light lister from the V-Ray toolbar and turn on the lights inside the house. Currently, they are plain white, which is a bit boring. I want to spice them up a bit. I can quickly try different options and see which one works best. We can increase the interactivity even more by increasing the post-effects rate. I will go back to the render setup and choose the setting tab. In the system rollout, I will increase the post-effects rate from 10 to 100. Now I have to restart the render. Now when I move the camera, we can see how the denoiser cleans up the image even faster. Once I'm satisfied with how everything looks, it's time to create a high-resolution final render. Let's head back to the denoiser settings. In the NVIDIA AI Denoiser section, we can turn on the Optics Use Upscale option. This lets us render higher quality images in less time, but keep in mind, both the NVIDIA AI Denoiser and the Intel OpenImage Denoise are not recommended for production renders because they're not physically accurate. When it comes to denoising back-to-beauty render elements, they are not consistent, and there can be artifacts on an image reconstructed from them. So if you're planning to denoise elements like V-Ray reflection, refraction, lighting, and so on, it's best to use the default V-Ray Denoiser. But before we do that, let me show you just how much the Denoiser tool does for us. I'll turn off the Denoiser for a bit to show you what our results would look like without it. For the final render, I'll switch the image sampler type from progressive to bucket. I'll set a very low noise threshold, around 0.005. This will give us a nice clean image, but keep in mind it might take a little longer to render, especially for more complex scenes. Let's hit the render button and see what we get. The image looks great, and it took us about 11 minutes. If we zoom in, we can see that there is no visible noise. But let's say I'm on a short deadline and I want to reduce the rendering time first. I will increase the noise threshold number to about 0.01 to render the image faster. Now I will enable the V-Ray Denoiser. Keep the default settings and push the render button. As you'll see, the rendering time has been reduced to 6 minutes, and together with the denoiser effect, we get a clean render. To give you a clear comparison, here are the results with the denoiser turned off and on. If you like, you can change the strength of the effect. You can do that from the render setup before you render the image, or just do it in the frame buffer. You can make use of the preset values or input your own custom value. Let's increase it to something like 7. The result is a little too extreme, so I will keep the default value when working with the denoiser. In some cases, you may notice that the glass material is looking odd. Here in my render, you can see that the glass looks smudgy. This is due to the denoiser not accounting for the objects behind the glass. To tackle this issue, I'll demonstrate 2 methods. But first, let me save this render so we can compare the results later. The first method involves modifying the parameters of the glass material. Head over to the material editor and select the glass material. In the refraction panel, change the effect channels from color only to all channels. If you're encountering a similar problem with highly reflective materials like chrome, you can follow the same procedure, but in the reflection panel instead. After making these changes, go ahead and re-render your scene. You'll observe that the result is significantly better than before. By comparing the previous render with the new one, you can clearly see that the smudging effect on the glass has gone. The other way to work around this is by excluding the glass materials in the frame buffer from being affected by the denoiser. For this way to work, you should add the V-Ray Crypto Matte render element and render. To remove them in the frame buffer, we have to right-click on the denoiser layer and add the Crypto Matte mask, invert the mask, and pick the glass objects. Something to consider before you use this option is that the noise still will be present on the masked object. In this part of the video, I will demonstrate how to use the V-Ray Denoiser for animation sequences. Here, I have a very simple camera movement. For animations, it's recommended to use the default denoiser along with the standalone V-Ray Denoiser tool. This standalone tool comes with the V-Ray installation and is located in the Tools folder. Before we hit the render button, we have to change some settings in the render setup. The first thing to do is switch the time output from single to range. I will render it in full HD resolution. Now we want to choose the destination for the rendered images. Avoid using the 3D Max native file output since it doesn't support the V-Ray Denoiser render element. We are going to use the V-Ray raw image file output, which can be found in the frame buffer rollout. When you're saving, make sure you're using the XR or V-Ray image format. I will set the image sampler type to bucket and keep the noise threshold at 0.01. In the Global Illumination tab, change the light cache preset from still to animation. This will increase the light cache subdivs and make the animation smoother and more accurate. It's not always necessary to use it, but it can help in interior renders or in complicated lighting situations. Now, the most important thing, go to the advanced parameters of the V-Ray Denoiser and choose only Generate Render Elements. This will skip the denoising phase, as we will later do that in the standalone denoiser tool. Now we can render. When the images are done, open the standalone denoiser tool. Browse for your rendered images and select the first one. The option Blend Frames blends adjacent frames and removes flickering that can be produced on very small details, hair, or fur. From Select Denoise Elements, you can choose which render elements to be denoised. You can change the render engine, but let's keep the default one. When you're ready, press the Denoise button. and here's the result that we get. Congratulations, you've now learned how to use the V-Ray Denoiser and how you can use it to create faster renders for your projects, whether it's a single frame render or an animation sequence. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and thanks for watching.